What's going on, everyone? The Russell Westbrook experiment clearly didn't work in the Los Angeles Lakers last year with Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. But many thought up until this point that Russell Westbrook would be traded this offseason. But all signs are pointing to Russell Westbrook remaining with the team. And a big question is why? Why not trade him and really try to go get some assets to put around Anthony Davis and LeBron James? Now, a new coach comes in. You got Darvin Ham. Hopefully, he can get Westbrook to buy in. All signs look like Westbrook is willing to buy in and respects Darvin, and they've had conversations, and Westbrook seems ready to commit and sacrifice for whatever it may take. But even then, why even risk the opportunity of it failing once again and not sort of retconning what you've already done? Try to recoup some pieces that we know will work with Anthony Davis and LeBron James and hopefully get the best out of LeBron James's last few seasons as possible. Well, what if it is Russell Westbrook's big contract? What if the Lakers are positioning themselves to go get another star, right? The Lakers are known for that. They don't rebuild, they retool. And when they try to rebuild, it just didn't work. And as soon as you go get LeBron and Anthony Davis, you win a championship. So it ties into the Lakers' history. Go get stars, win championships. So the Lakers would have $47 million to go get another star. And what if they're positioning themselves for Bradley Beal? Now, Bradley Beal yesterday had an interview over on Bleacher Report with Taylor Rooks, and they talked about the future of Bradley Beal, the Washington Wizards, things like that. How does he feel about being in trade rumors? How does he feel about the future of the Wizards? And to boil it down, he essentially just said, I want to win. I don't care about the money. Obviously, he could get a 5-year, like $225 million contract, or he could get a 4-year, $175 million with another team. And he even said, it's whatever my family wants and what gives me the best position to win. And now that would mean going to a team that can give you a position to win and still give you that max contract. Not only that, but if we're being honest, the Wizards, I don't see them being able to make a move big enough to keep Beal excited and willing to stick it out, thinking that they're going to be contenders, especially in the stacked Eastern Conference. I mean, the East Conference is just ridiculously stacked, and we kind of are seeing that the Western Conference is kind of just smoke and mirrors. Like, there were no real juggernauts in the Western Conference this season. And maybe that's just a down year. There was a lot of injuries. There was a lot of issues going on with multiple teams. So maybe that's the case. But if I'm Bradley Beal and I'm looking at, I could go to the Lakers, I'd have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and they could put some other pieces around us. The three of us would be the best three, big three in the entire NBA. Like, who's stopping us, right? And I just look at it like that as a real opportunity if he does in fact want to win. Because he even mentions in the interview how unfortunate and disappointing it is that all the trade rumors are about him going somewhere else rather than somebody going to him. And that is a big issue because who's really lining up to go play with Bradley Beal in Washington? I don't see that happening. But Bradley Beal going to a Miami or something along those lines, I think makes a ton of sense. But the Lakers next season, when he's a free agent, could just sign him outright. And I just think it would be a great opportunity for Bradley Beal because you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. LeBron's probably got another year or two after this upcoming season of just solid, high-level basketball. So you have this little window with LeBron James. And even then, his mind and skill set is so good. He could take a pay cut and allow the Lakers to get some flexibility and just kind of run point guard and just facilitate. And you'd have Bradley Beal and Anthony Davis still, plus you could probably get some other key players. And worst case scenario, if LeBron retires or something like that, then you free up his contract. You got Bradley Beal, Anthony Davis. You could go get another star. Anthony Davis is still young enough to where if he can stay healthy, you have several years of Bradley Beal and Anthony Davis as your nucleus going forward, even after LeBron. I just think that the Bradley Beal situation looks like it's going to be inevitable. And he's kind of becoming more and more open with the possibility. All the reports and things you hear behind the scenes are all that Bradley Beal is essentially gone. Now, of course, that's all rumors. That's all speculation. You never really know until you actually see it happen. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. Bradley Beal said specifically in that interview he wants to win. He needs to win. That's the only thing he cares about, is being in a position to win, whether it's with the Wizards or another team. That came out of his mouth. Those were his words. So what can the Wizards do to go get a piece that would fit Bradley Beal and contend for a championship? I mean, you have bad contracts, and you have Kristaps Porzingis, who he's not that guy anymore. He can't even stay healthy and on the court. He's more of your third or fourth option rather than your second option. And then you have a bunch of role players. That's great. But outside of that, like, what are you doing? You're packaging up all those role players to go get another star? What team is going to trade a star for all the Wizards role players? Now, you could trade draft picks and everything else and maybe really get some incentive and some enticement, but who's really on the Wizards that is this just, oh, that's a guy that we need to get, and we're willing to trade a Donovan Mitchell or something like that for those pieces? Like, I just don't see it happening if we're being realistic. So Washington is essentially stuck. I mean, even Kristaps, he has another year after this year on his contract. Oh, it's a player option, but he's not going to turn down, it's like $35 million or something like that. I don't see him turning that down, especially with his injury history. So Bradley Beal would have to sign an extension or, sign a new deal, and he'd essentially have to wait at least 2 years before they'd actually have significant cap space to go and get another star. And that's assuming another star would even want to go there. Where the Lakers are very likely going to get a star either way, because it's just how the Lakers are. Now, I'm not saying that that's guaranteed, but we've seen enough history that the Lakers usually get the guy that they want. They usually get the star. Now, the Lakers' allure isn't as big as it once was, but still, I mean, you still have guys that are willing to go and play with LeBron James, play with Anthony Davis, be on the Lakers, be in Hollywood. It's just a very attractive place. And then you have these two guys that have already proven can win a championship. That's the other big key, is that Bradley Beal's got to be looking at it as like, you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. If I come on board, the two of them together have won a championship. If I come in, the three of us definitely can win a championship. I mean, that, like I said, that would be the best trio in the NBA. You'd have both defense, offense, you'd have a go-to scorer. LeBron would have a field day with Bradley Beal, being able to just put him in position to be successful. Bradley Beal can be a playmaker and alleviate LeBron. LeBron can play off the ball. Bradley Beal is essentially everything the Lakers have been looking for these last few years. A guy that can take the pressure off of LeBron, a guy that can play next to LeBron, a guy that can be that second or third option. LeBron, I believe, it would be willing for a Bradley Beal, a guy that he knows he can trust to score and do the right thing on the court. He would take a step back, especially if you're talking, he's 40 years old. He's not going to want to exert himself. He's going to miss 20 plus games a season. So Bradley Beal's going to have a lot of time just to himself. You get a couple quality pieces around these three. I mean, what trio is in the league is better than this? I mean, seriously. I mean, it does go into health, right? Anthony Davis needs to be healthy. LeBron James needs to be at a high level still and healthy. So health would be the biggest concern. But if Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Bradley Beal are all healthy, that's a scary team. I don't care what team they're going up against. Like, nobody would want to play the Lakers if those are the three they're going up against. Like, right now, nobody's worried about Westbrook, LeBron, and Davis because they know it's likely not going to work. And maybe that changes, but realistically, I don't see it changing very much. Not enough to, be a contender and win a championship. I could see it happening. I could see them maybe being good enough to get to the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, who knows? But I just think realistically, that trio is not going to work the way that Bradley Beal would be. I mean, he's perfect. He is the perfect complement to a LeBron James team, and especially with Anthony Davis. And then, like I said, you have Anthony Davis and Bradley Beal for your future. I mean, that's a great position to be in. I mean, you could win multiple championships with those two, and you get another guy or a couple guys or something that can kind of slot in once LeBron leaves and retires. I just think it's perfect. But beyond that, you have the dynamic of Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. So just throwing this out there, but let's say Westbrook does work this year. Let's say Westbrook actually is successful and let's say they don't win a championship, but let's say they make it to the Western Conference Finals, or they fight in a tough second round, and end up getting eliminated by the Suns in like 7, or something along those lines. Westbrook is never going to get a $40+ million again deal, right? And Westbrook and Bradley Beal love to play together. They were proven enough together to win to make it to the playoffs. And of course, they weren't able to really do anything once they got there, but still, the two of them essentially by themselves were able to get into the playoffs. What if you get Bradley Beal and you sign Westbrook on like a $10 million a year contract? Like, I mean, I wouldn't be completely assuming, I mean, there's a lot of things that would have to fall into place, but Westbrook's home, take the home discount. You know, you're a guy, you know, at most, maybe you get $15 million a year on some other team. You take the $5 million discount, you get to play with Bradley Beal, you get to play with LeBron James, and you get to play with Anthony Davis. Again, Bradley Beal and Westbrook have proven together are good enough to get to the playoffs. You add in Anthony Davis, you add in a LeBron, I think you could end up having all four, the following season, assuming things work out. Granted, if it's another disaster and Westbrook doesn't buy in and Westbrook, is just a total mess and doesn't fit anymore, then yeah, I could see that not being the case. I could see them just saying, we need to get rid of Westbrook. But what if he really does change? What if Westbrook really does buy in and is a great fit and does everything that the Lakers had hoped Westbrook would have done when they signed him? I think if he is willing to sacrifice and he is willing to buy in and you go get a Bradley Beal, you have this basically 4 core players that could really do some damage and be scary. It's just something that I just wanted to throw out there just as a hypothetical, because all this is a discussion. And as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think about the Lakers potentially positioning themselves for a Bradley Beal? I think it makes a ton of sense. I mean, you're going to have $47 million to do essentially whatever you need, right? And LeBron James, you still have him, so maybe he takes a discount. I mean, you could have enough to go realistically go get a Bradley Beal and somebody else if you need be. But let's, keep it within the frame of realism. Most likely you get a Bradley Beal and then you get a bunch of like core players. I could see that very well being the case, but I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I think it's something that's at least worth the discussion, and I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. So let me know what you think. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.